Hello, welcome back to the Kimchi Redneck Kitchen, where we do all the cooking.
Because that's what we do.
So, today I got inspired because we saw a video by a fellow YouTuber, Future Neighbor, where he made Bulgogi Tteokbokki.
So this guy pretty much specializes in making Korean cooking videos, but like home style cooking videos,
And
not
stuff's easy. We enjoy watching him, so shout out to Future Neighbor. We're fans. We love your channel. I'm not taking from him, but I'm going to add on to kind of what he did. I'm using SeonKyoungLongest Bulgogi marinade recipe because that's my favorite marinade. And we're going to add some things that we like to add. So this is our take on Bulgogi Tteokbokki. So we are starting with good bulgogi meat that we picked up. And then I've got that here. What you don't see out is my veggies. My veggies are still in the fridge. Have not chopped them yet. We're going to take our cheese tteokbokki and we're going to put it in water. And why are we doing that, Chuck?
because the tteokbokki is the dish. Tteok is the actual rice cake. Rice cake, when you get it out of the bag, is very hard. It needs to be soaked in water to soften.
So we're doing a pre-soak on that. And then I'm making up the marinade. And I kind of like to marinate my bulgogi meat just a little bit longer than probably other people do because I like to add extra flavor into my meat. So I'm going to make the marinade up and get the bulgogi meat marinating. And then we'll come back in a little bit where I will chop up and saute our vegetables and get them set aside. We'll boil our tteokbokki and get all of that put together to where we're ready for making it all mixed together and stir frying. And then we're also going to have rice on the side, but you don't need to see me make rice in my rice cooker, but I'll be getting that out shortly and throwing rice in the rice cooker. Okay, let's get started. Again, this bulgogi marinade recipe, we'll link it in the description, but the bulgogi marinade recipe comes from SeonKyoungLongest, Asian at Home. You all know that I am a fan of hers and I love to try and recreate what she's making and then add my own little flair to it. So again, my fusion, my take on the recipe, but the bulgogi marinade straight from her because it's just perfection at its best. So here we go. We've got 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of mirin, and 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of plum extract. Y'all, I love plum extract, by the way, so I'm gonna add probably a little bit more, but not a whole lot. So maybe an extra squeeze or so. And then 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. And then 5 to 6 cloves of garlic, which for us equals out to about 3 teaspoons. And then we're also gonna add just about a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And then how much gochugaru do you wanna add, babe? We're making ours a little spicy, so we're adding a little gochugaru. 1/4 teaspoon?
I'd start with the same amount as you put in the black pepper.
All right, so let's get that mixed up. Now that that is all mixed up, we're gonna open up. We have over here about 600 grams of bulgogi meat. So for those of you who may have never made bulgogi before, that's gonna be your thinly sliced meat. So super thin. See? So I kind of like to pull mine out and just kind of make sure it's all kind of ready. Some of these will probably cut a little bit smaller as we're cooking, but I kind of like to open it because that gives it, for me at least, I'm giving it a better chance to get all of the marinade in.
And slices of meat like that are why in a Korean kitchen, they cut everything with scissors.
Yeah, so.
Now, when back in my day, when I was
so
growing up, I
old.
had no idea what kitchen scissors were for because I just figured you use the knife to cut stuff. But now in a Korean kitchen, between the meat like that you got to cut up while it's cooking, or the those glass noodles, those potato starch noodles.
I love those. Yeah, we're making something later with those.
And just other things like that. Dishes like japchae, which again is those glass noodles. They use kitchen scissors to cut a whole bunch of stuff.
All right, so all of my meat is now opened. I'm only gonna use about 2/3 of this marinade, and then I'm gonna mix it in by hand because I wanna save some of that marinade for the tteokbokki and veggies. So then I'm just going to stick my hands in here, which I'm used to getting my hands dirty in the meat anyways, because I like making meatloaf, and meatloaf is a very messy dish. But yeah, just really want to make sure that all of the meat kind of has the flavor and the mix all over it. And that is gonna go in our fridge and sit for probably a couple hours because it's a couple hours till dinner time. So no need for us to rush, and that'll give this plenty of time to get nice and marinated. But that's where we are. So I'll see you in a bit. So we're back. So it was boring, so I did not make you watch me chop up veggies or drain the tteokbokki and watch you put it in water. But basically your tteokbokki is in here. We're going to boil this so they'll cook, and once they start floating up to the top, they'll be ready. So that is on. It is ready to start. And I have chopped up veggies, so we are going to start with stir frying them. I have a little bit of oil in our wok over here, and so I'm going to start adding veggies. So we've got carrot and onion. So Chuck and I don't often get the amount of vegetables that we regularly want to get, so when I do cook, I kind of tend to put more veg than normal in. So we're getting our veg today, babe. So we've got peppers, onions, carrots, and we'll also add mushrooms. We're going to cook this down a little bit first. So your main goal is basically to get your carrots and peppers soften up a little bit, but also to get that onion translucent. Chuck is over there going, that is a whole lot of veg, aren't you? Got to get the veggies in when you can.
Yep.
So I don't think that doing the peppers, bell peppers, is a normal thing for bulgogi. I know I heard one of my Korean friends has told me before that her mom used to do it. I love bell pepper, and bell pepper with beef is always good. So that's pretty much why I do that. And the last time that I made it, we added it in. It was really good, wasn't it, Chuck?
Yeah.
I'm going to dump those mushrooms in because let's be honest, it's all going to need to cook down a little. So we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so our tteokbokki is now floating. So we're going to turn it off, and then I'm going to pull it out of here and drain it.
I'm going to make sure our stuff doesn't burn real quick.
Oh, you just wanted to be in the shot, didn't you?
I got to be in the video somewhere.
All right, while he's stirring that, I'm assuming I'm still in shot here, but we are going to put that leftover. Oh, you just wanted to do that, didn't you? We're gonna put
Hey, it's the one thing I'm good at in the kitchen.
We're gonna put the leftover bulgogi sauce onto our rice cake, so it can kind of be soaking in that, so it's ready for when everything cooks down a little bit, and we add the meat to the veggies and stir fry everything. So I'm just gonna make sure that all of this tteok, since he keeps telling me I say it wrong, all of the tteok is in here, and it is all getting marinated. So now I'm just waiting for my veggies to finish cooking down so I can add them in with the tteok and get a little bit of marinade there, and then we'll start the bulgogi meat. So Chuck said I was a little overzealous with my veg, so we took about a half of that out, and we'll just use that for something at another time. So I'm just going to add my veg here in with my rice cake at this point, because I want to get that in some of that marinade too while we're getting ready to get the meat all cooked and ready to go. Come on out of here. All right. So that is our current game plan, is to get the veg in here with our rice cake mixed up in our marinade so that it gets a little bit of flavor seeking into that veg too at the same time before everything gets in the pan to stir fry, because up next is making our meat. All right, we're back. So we've got a little bit of oil in our wok. By the way, we did buy a wok. I know at some point we said we were buying a wok. We've got a wok. So congratulations to us for our wok. Now we're going to add our bulgogi meat in here and start stir frying that.
Go about half of that container.
You mean to start?
Well, unless you plan on cooking.
I'm cooking all of it.
Okay, well then.
I'm not going to leave any of it sitting over here. We're not eating all of this tonight, obviously. But we are cooking all of it. So now we are just going to stir fry and get all of our meat all cooked up.
That one you're going to want to turn up to about a medium high.
Well, this is probably going to take about 5-7 minutes or so. Mostly because I have a lot of meat in here.
It's very thin cut, so technically it should cook quickly, but there's a lot of it in there, so.
And neither of us is fond of raw meat.
Yep.
But also we need to cook down the liquid in it as well, because we want to reduce the amount of liquid in it.
All right, so as we're cooking meat here, some of these chunks of meat are a bit oversized. I mean, everybody loves a big piece of meat, but that's going to be hard to eat mixed in with rice and whatnot. This is supposed to be a, this is not a steak, this is a mixed dish.
And
So
Chuck has a better stir fry capability than I, so we kind of switch places for a few minutes so that he could make sure that all of our meat gets stir fried and cooked up well. And then we'll add in the rest. But yeah, so you don't really want to leave it in too big of pieces, especially when you're doing it this way, because you're going to be eating it with rice, and you don't really want to have the meat be that big. So bite-sized pieces is good. Which I could, like I said earlier, I could have done that earlier, before, but I usually wait until this point to do it anyways, because the meat's going to shrink up a little bit.
at this point, the meat is pretty much done. We're just trying to boil some of the juice out.
Yeah, so the game plan is to boil some of the liquid out, because when we put the veggies and the tteokbokki in there, they do have a little bit of liquid with them as well. So you want to make sure you're not putting a whole lot of excess liquid so that you have too much liquid to boil off.
Which you have to be careful, or it will overcook the meat.
How are we doing on the boiling off the liquid? I think future neighbor said once it got down to bubbly boily stage, we were good.
We are bubbly boily.
Okay, so then it might be time to add in.
All right, I think I've got. There's one tried to sneak past me.
That's a lot of juice. Yeah. Okay, so we cooked a little bit more meat than he cooked. So what we're going to do right now, just for intelligence sake here, is move some of that meat over here and just cook down the juice for now. I don't want to end up with a whole lot of extra juice added over too much. Although, I'm not going to lie, that makes a really good gravy. You wouldn't be butthurt with that at all, would you?
Now you just serve it with rice. It's already gravy.
All right, so I'm just going to add that right back in. Add that right on top, and you're just going to stay in spot because you are the stir fryer. So this one, since it's still got marinade that hadn't been cooked, you want to cook it for just a little bit because you want to get that marinade cooked in. All right, I officially made just as many dishes as you do.
Actually, on this one, we want to get
Yeah, you got to get mixed together.
the vegetables closer to the bottom because the meat's already done.
Well, the vegetables and the rice cake are actually done as well, but you kind of want to just get all of it together so that it gets its flavor together. I think my marinade made a little more juice than his marinade made, too.
Yeah,
So.
maybe.
So different marinades for your bulgogi can make more liquid, which in the case of trying to add the veggies in, the veggies itself will release some liquid as well, so you don't want to add too terrible much. This looks really good. I'm excited we decided to try this. So the game plan for us, this is going to be more than one meal. The game plan is to make sure we get our rice cakes to the point that there aren't very many for the second night because the rice cakes don't last as long.
Rice cakes don't keep well.
Yeah. Your wok skills are pretty... Uncle Roger would be impressed with your wok skills.
Well, when you have an actual wok or an actual saute pan with the correct edge on it, it's a whole lot easier to do the flip without stuff landing all over the table.
I'm thankful it didn't land on the table because I'd be really sad if you wasted all my good food.
That, and I'm sure Mamie would try to see if she could knock over a table.
Maybe so she doesn't have to see. She could knock over a table. The girls are currently dressed in their festive elf pajamas that their Aunt Elfie sent them. They look really cute. They look like they're about to do Santa's work, don't they?
Should probably be about time to plate and serve.
All right. Y'all should see how bad my little dog's faces look right now and everything else.
They desperately need to be groomed. So, there we got. So it doesn't slide out of the bowl, but. Manny, move back. All right, let's see. A little bit of beef. A bit of carrots. If I can get a little bit of rice to go with it. There we go.
So I did top it with a little bit of green onion as well as sesame seed. That was pretty tasty. What do you think?
Yep. Meat's tender. A good marinating will do that to meat. I just thought about, hopefully I'm even in frame.
Other than that, they're probably just watching me eat them. So exciting.
Let's see, let's get a little bell pepper and onion with that one this time.
I mean, I wish there was something up here I could share with you. There is not. Future neighbor, I wish you were my neighbor. I would hang out with you, buddy, just because your recipes are amazing, but dang, this was easy to make, affordable, it tastes delicious, and we got leftovers for tomorrow.
As a side note though, I don't know how Korean YouTubers put stuff on rice and then manage to get all of it in one thing. Because, I mean, I can do the rice. I can get the rice. But when I try to do like the rice with the meat and something on it, it all just kind of falls apart like a Jenga tower.
Maybe that's skills they've learned.
See?
It's skills they've learned. You to be here in Korea. We've not been in Korea long enough to learn these skills yet. That was better. I do like the pepper in this, though. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just love bell pepper. So again, this is my take on this recipe, and my take on this recipe adds bell pepper to it.
Mm-hmm. And the cheesy tteok and the marinade with the and cooked with the meat juice was pretty spectacular.
But special thanks to both Future Neighbor and SeonKyoungLongest for the parts they played in this recipe, because this is pretty fabulous.
Yeah, this is definitely doable and tasty.
And it wasn't really that hard to do. I could probably buy pre-marinated bulgogi meat. Well, we know I could buy pre-marinated.
Yeah. That's a thing in Korean stores is they will sell pre-sliced, pre-mixed marinated meat with the onions and the spring onions and whatever else they put in it. And you can literally just buy it, take it home, throw it in a frying pan. Makes it a bit easier. We started from make it yourself.
Well, like I said, I really enjoy that marinade that SeonKyoungLongest has.
We'll see y'all next time. We got to stuff our faces.
Bye.